Sai Ram. Welcome to Sri Sathya Sai Loka Seva Gurukulam. Today we are going to continue on our study that chapter number 21 of our textbook Building Blocks of Life, Cells and Tissue Part 2. We will start with seeing the answers for previous home assignment. The first question asked was, who discovered cell? Last time itself we have seen his picture also, right? Robert Hooke discovered the cell in 1665. The next question asked was, name the instrument which helps us to see the cell. The instrument we can use it to see the cell is microscope. With that help of a microscope, Robert Hooke discovered the cell, right? The third question, who formulated cell theory? The answer for that, the cell theory was formulated by two scientists from German. They are M.J. Sheldon in 1838 and T. Seva in 1839. The fourth question asked was, explain cell theory. So, always when a question is asked, you start like that. The cell theory states that, or the explanation for cell theory is something you have to write and then you have to start. That will give little better impression on your answer scripts. Okay, here the cell theory states that cell is the structural and functional unit of all living beings and it is present in the body of all the organism. The second point is, new cell arises by the division of pre-existing cell. The third point is, the function of an organism are the outcome of the combined activity of the interaction between the cells. That is how the organisms are made. These are the explanation for cell theory. The fifth question asked was, differentiate prokaryotic cell from eukaryotic cell. If a question is asked like differentiation, you make sure that you are writing it in tabular form. Always you have to do that, okay, then only you can able to differentiate it. Here two things I have to differentiate. So, I made here 3 columns. You can able to see 3 columns are made. In the first column, I am just writing what are all the characters I am going to describe it about, how it is different from a prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. So, prokaryotic and eukaryotic will take the next 2 column heading. The first one is in terms of nucleus. In prokaryotic cell that do not have a well organized nucleus, where eukaryotic cell we can able to see that is having a prominent nucleus which is present. The next point is the location of the genetic material. In prokaryote it is located in the cytoplasm, whereas in eukaryote it is located in the nucleus. The cell organelles are absent. Many kind of cell organelles are present in eukaryote. Okay, this is the basic difference between a prokaryotic cell and a eukaryotic cell. We will further proceed now. So, what are today's learning objective? We are going to study the structure of a typical eukaryotic cell and we are going to see the parts of common both in animal and also in the plant cell. We will start with our lesson. First, we are going to study the structure of the cell. The structure of the cell is complicated and it is of various shape, various size and various function we can able to see in multicellular organism. Why we are using the term multicellular organism? We are human, right? We are having so many cells which is present in our body. Each and every cells will be different. Yesterday we have seen about, in the last class we have seen about red blood cell and white blood cell and all, right? You can clearly see how the cells are different and what is its function, that is also different, and the shape. Why we are talking about the shape here? Red blood cells were circular in shape and white blood cell it is like an amoeboid shape, and we will see in future like how so many different kind of cells are changing its shape also. The size of the cell pertains to where it is present and how it is going to function. Based on that, the size of the cell will also differ. Then function, each and every cell will be allotted with a certain function that only the cell is pertains to do. So we can able to see the cells are having different function. Because of that only we are having tissue, organ system and things like that, right? We have already seen that in the previous class. The cells, when we are talking about the internal parts, we can able to see both the living component and a non-living component which is present in the cell. What is that living component? The cell part which is giving life to that cell. And this part, when we are removing it separately, this living component cannot able to function. But non-living part, whether it is present inside the cell, after separating it out from the cell, it looks the same and its functions also same. Those are known as non-living part of the cell. Okay, here we are having the next part, that is the protoplasm, that is the liquid part of the cell which is present in the boundary. This protoplasm is the living part of the cell. The nucleus, cytoplasm together, we can call it as protoplasm. The nucleus is the place where the cells are having its genetic material stored in eukaryotic cell, right? Yesterday we have seen the three parts of the normal cell, that is the cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus, right? Cytoplasm and nucleus together, we are coining a new term that is known as protoplasm. Okay, we will see further. Here it is depicted the plant cell and the animal cell. We will see in detail how the plant cell and animal cell differ. Plant cell, it is having a proper boundary, always we will draw it in square shape. Animal cells, it may be oval or circular shape because it is not having a very rigid boundary, that is a very strong boundary. So what a plant cell is having for that rigid boundary, the outermost part of the cell which is known as the cell wall. The outermost thick layer of cell wall we can able to see in terms of in plant cell, whereas that is not present in the animal cell. Because of that the shape varies. Okay. Now we will see the other parts which is present in the plant cell. The cell wall, then we will see the plasma membrane which is present. Plasma membrane is the limiting structure, right? It tells how the cell has to present and where it has to stop, and also this limiting plasma membrane is present in the plant cell. Then it is having the fluid part, cytoplasm is also present. The most predominant and prominent thing which we are looking for is the nucleus. The nucleus is also a membrane bound organelle. So it is having its own membrane, nuclear membrane, which surrounds that nucleus, and apart from that we can able to see a nucleolus which is present inside the nucleus. A dark part, dark structures which is present inside the nucleus is known as nucleolus. Nucleus itself is dark. You can imagine nucleolus which is present inside the nucleus which is also extremely dark, that is known as nucleolus. So nucleus has nucleolus and it has its own membrane, nuclear membrane which surrounds. Then what are all the other parts we can able to see in a plant cell? Plants are green in color, right? So we are expecting the cells will have something to do that green color part, that is known as chloroplast. Then it has a mitochondria to give energy. We have mitochondria which is present inside the plant cell. Then apart from that it has endoplasmic reticulum. Then it is having a vacuole. We can able to see the major part of the cell is occupied by vacuoles. Okay, these are the major parts. Since it is a plant cell, it has an ability to produce starch, and the excess starch it will store inside the cytoplasm. So we can able to see a starch granule which is present inside the cell in the cytoplasm. We can able to see the starch granule. This is the major part in plant cell. I will tell it to you again. The plant cell is having the cell wall, cell membrane, nucleus, apart from that mitochondria, chloroplast, then the starch granule, vacuole are present in the plant cell. We will come to an animal cell now. In animal cell, we cannot able to see the cell wall, right? The rigid structure is absent, but we can able to see the cell membrane, that plasma membrane is present. We can able to see a plasma membrane, and then we can able to see the cytoplasm and the nucleus. The nucleus is also present. Then we are having a mitochondria, okay, that is the powerhouse of the cell. Vacuoles are present, but it is so small, very tiny vacuoles we can able to see. Then a prominent structure which we can able to see in animal cell are known as centrioles. And the endoplasmic reticulum is very elaborate, and we can able to see that also. This is also having its own membrane. You can able to see the black color dots are nothing but the ribosomes which is getting attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. So endoplasmic reticulum has ribosome attached on that, or it will present without the ribosomes also. So we can able to see endoplasmic reticulum. This is how a animal cell is organized. Okay, hope you understand the figure properly. If it is asked as a 5-mark question or draw and explain kind of question, you can able to clearly tell how the cell is present and what are all the various things you have to mention it inside the cell. We will move further. We are going to see the parts which is common to both animal and also plant cell. We have just seen how the plant cell and animal cell is organized, right? So some parts are very common in both the places. We can able to see in both plant cell and animal cell. Those parts we are going to see today. The first one is the cell membrane. Cell membrane, otherwise it is known as plasma membrane. Both gives the same meaning, that is deciding the outermost boundary of a cell, right? And here we can able to see the key feature of the plasma membrane. We know it is delimiting membrane. With that only the cell is having its own structure which is decided. What are the key features of the cell membrane? It is very thin and which is very delicate and enclosing the cell. It is a thin, delicate membrane enclosing the cell. Thin means very, very thin, ultra thin. Even microscope we cannot able to distinctly separate and see. Okay, we need an electron microscope to see that. So it is a very thin structure, delicate. Delicate means it is very soft, fragile. Easily it will get damaged. So very delicate membrane, and which is present surrounding the cell, which forms the outermost covering in animal cell, and it is the inner side of the cell wall in the plant cell. We can able to see this is the overall boundary. After that nothing is present in the animal cell, whereas in plant cell it is not the outermost boundary. Apart from that, we are having one more important protection, that is cell wall, which is present in the plant cell, right? So this is present inner to that of the cell wall, and it is selectively permeable. That we will see its function in the next slide. What is selectively permeable means. So now we are going to elaborately see the function of a cell which is having a cell membrane. This structure we have seen now, and function we will see. It is selectively permeable. Something can able to go inside the cell and come out, but it won't allow everything to go in and come out. We have our house, right? We won't allow everyone inside our house, right? We have certain norms, who can come and who can go, who can freely come and who can freely go. And if the family members are freely come and freely go, guests, if you are allowing, they can come and go. And the fruit seller, all those people, we won't invite inside our house, right? They will come and sell, the milkman, all those people, they will come and go, right? So many people, they cannot come inside our house. Similarly, the cell will also decide which has to come inside and which is it won't permit. So it has its ability to control it. So a cell is mostly, it is made up of water, right? We can able to see water tend to enter inside the cell, glucose tend to enter inside the cell, carbon dioxide, oxygen and all is needed, right? So carbon dioxide tend to go out from the cell, oxygen tend to enter inside the cell. So these are some of the important things which cell can permit inside and outside the cell. But we are putting some face cream or some Fair and Lovely, something like that, right? So many things we are applying on our top of our skin. Whether our skin cell will allow it to go? No, it won't allow the foreign things to enter inside the cell. It has its own restriction. It won't allow everything to enter inside the cell. So that is known as selectively permeable. Something will go inside, something it cannot able to permit. So we can able to see some of the substances which is passing inside and also outside, in and out of the cell. And this cell membrane which protects the cell from injury. If any harm or anything is going to happen to the cell is protected because the cell is having its own boundary. Then it maintains the shape of the cell. We have already seen the size and shape of the cells are designed because it is having that cell membrane which is present. We have seen that oval shaped cell in the animal cells, right? That and all we have already seen. So that shape is also maintained because the cell is having the membrane which is present in the around the cell. Now we will see the next part, that is cytoplasm. What are the key features we are going to see cytoplasm? Before that, where cytoplasm is located? Cytoplasm is located in the inner boundary which is decided by the plasma membrane. We can able to see all the fluid material which is present inside the cell is in the cytoplasmic region, right? This is the cytoplasm where we can able to see it is fluid like structure which fills the entire cell. So what is its key feature? How you will identify it? It is translucent, that is it is light permeable but it is not completely transparent, okay? It is light permeable substance, that is translucent. Homogeneous. Homogeneous means continuously it will have some or the other solid and liquid material together. We can able to see a mixture which is homogeneous. When we will tell homogeneous, if everything is dispensed properly. Okay, you have seen like in buttermilk and all, something will settle down. Then if it settle down, again what we will do, we will mix it together so that all the part of the buttermilk will have the same constituent, right? Then if after mixing, you can able to see the solid particle and also the liquid mixed uniformly, right? That is known as homogeneous. Here the cell is having various cell organelles and all, right? We have seen in the cell structure. So all those things, it won't settle in one place. It will be uniformly distributed throughout the cell. So it is homogeneous in nature. And it is colloidal. What is colloidal? Here it is not a solid, it is not a liquid, it is not a gas. It is a mixture of all the three things together. It is known as the colloidal substance. And it is semi-fluid. Semi-fluid, it is not completely water-like, because it should have some kind of nutrients present and gases dissolved and cell organelles present, proteins, all those things are present inside, right? So it is not like water, but even though it is having water, it has many things which is dissolved or suspended in the cytoplasm. So we can able to see it is a semi-fluid structure. It is filling the space between the plasma membrane and the nucleus. We have seen the outermost covering is the plasma membrane, and we can able to see the nucleus in the center. Between the plasma membrane and the nucleus, whatever space is present, the entire place is filled with cytoplasm. And cell organelles are also present in the cytoplasm. These are the key feature about the cytoplasm. Now we will see the function. It helps in manufacture and distribution of substances within the cell. Whatever the cell needs, where it has to provide everything, we are providing because it is having an ability to manufacture. It will synthesize, it will produce on its own, and also it will distribute within the cell. and now we can able to see the exchange of material between the different organelles in the cell is also taking place because it is having the cytoplasm. Now we will see the nucleus. The nucleus is most important and prominent feature in the cell, right? And it is small and it is located near the center, almost in the center of the cytoplasm. So, in this then it is bound by a nuclear membrane. It has its own membrane to cover, a nuclear membrane which is present, and it is having a network of chromosomes which is present. The chromosomes are nothing but the DNA. We have already seen the DNA is organized in the form of chromosome which is present inside the cell as a chromatin. You can able to see the chromatin which is present inside the nucleus, and we can able to see one or more nucleoli which is present. In singular it is known as nucleolus, and in plural nucleoli which is present inside the nucleus. So, what is its function? It coordinates the activity of the entire cell. It is like a controlling region, okay, like our brain. Whatever we have to do, everything, the commands has to come from the nucleus. So, it coordinates the activity of the cell, and it is having the genetic material, or it is known as DNA, which is present inside. So, it is the most important part of a cell. Now, we will see the home assignment questions. Explain the structure of eukaryotic cell. Draw and label a plant cell. Elaborate the parts common to both animal cell and plant cell. These are the questions asked. So, hope you understand this properly. So, if you have any doubt, again watch this video. With that note, I am taking a leave from you. Thank you so much. Om Shri Sai Ram.